and I'm going to get started. We're recording this session like we normally do. Hopefully we'll have less technical difficulties than we did the last time we were in Las Vegas. I'm at my home office, so I have a lot better bandwidth and the ability to do make this a lot easier. So today what we're going to be talking about is pay-per-click and third-party lead generators in a little bit, and I hope you don't mind. I'm going to use some specific examples from your competitors. Normally I don't do that. I try and avoid jumping in and using direct examples from your competitors because it tends to make everybody, get those competitive juices flowing and all that. But what I'm trying to do is create an accurate picture of where you're at. So I'm gonna pull up a number of things on the browser just live here, and we're going to look live at what your competitors are doing to get leads online and some of the ways they're going about it. And then what we're going to do is specifically go through and look at some ways that you might be able to do it. Now this is our first, and we're going to go step by step through setting it up so that this is going to be one of those things where you're really going to need to come back and look at the video once it's up. It should be up shortly after I'm done, and once it is, please take the time to take a look at it and make sure that you go through it just kind of step by step, because there'll be a lot involved here today. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the basic concepts that are out there and the basic concepts that you have in third-party lead generation. And when I talk to you about what do I mean by third-party lead generation, I'm going to pull over a screen so you can see. This is a search that we're doing live for Virginia Beach homes. Okay, it could be Virginia Beach real estate or whatever. And so that you can see this live, we'll change it over to Virginia Beach real estate. Okay? Now, there are a couple of ways that people go about getting leads online. Some of the national sites, such as Trulia and Yahoo Real Estate and Realtor.com, and you can see Rosenwomble and some other competitors up there, but if you go down, you'll see Zillow, and then you can see Homes.com and some others that are up there. What they do is, that's organic search, and what they do is they sell out the zip codes or whatever and sell leads from those zip codes. That's how they approach it. There's other ways. The other companies that do it go up and use what's called pay-per-click, and a lot of times they're up here. In the pay-per-click is right on this top three here. Sometimes it's only one, sometimes it's none, but then it's also down here. And even when you think that you might be in a situation where you go, gosh, well, my competitor is doing this. Well, maybe they're just paying a third-party lead generator to do it. And I'm going to show you the difference today between the third-party lead generators and how to do it for yourself, and so we can see that you can do most everything that they're doing. If I click on, and I'm going to go ahead and click on some of these. I normally don't, but I will today. Let's just click on this Virginia Beach or VA Beach Homeviewer.com. I'm not sure who this is. I hope this is nobody in the office. I don't think it is, but okay. That's Diane Ragsdale. That's just her William Woods site. Okay. That's fine. I think it is. Maybe if we go down here, we can see. No, okay, that's a good point. If we're going down, this is not the William Woods site. If we go all the way to the bottom, right, and we're going to scroll all the way down, and it didn't pop, it changed on us here. Hang on, we'll click on it again so we can find it. Okay. If we scroll down, you'll see that there's a little thing at the bottom, and it said this is powered by Tiger Leads, and then it went away. I don't know whether you saw that or not, but this is a Tiger Leads thing, and Tiger Leads is a third-party lead generator. And basically what Diane has to do is pay them a monthly fee. And this is a little different form of lead generation from the guys that do, that buy a zip code from Zillow. What this is this is her paying, and a lot of times it's upwards of a couple thousand a month to do that. And what they do is she pays them that, and then they advertise for her. And what they're doing, the way that they sell this to realtors, which absolutely makes me crazy, is that they say, well, gosh, we're going to give you a complete end-to-end system for generating leads, blah, blah, blah. And the bottom line is this. All they're doing is taking pay-per-click, and they're actually adding a back end to it that has a place for them to manage leads. And that's the second kind of third-party lead generator. The first one is the one who does most of their stuff via search engine optimization, the organic stuff. So those are the guys that when you look here at that's the Trulias and the Zillows right here down at the bottom. Okay, that's those guys. The other guys are the ones that they just basically, all they are is a pay-per-click agency. The equivalent in the old day would be that they, back in the day when we did a lot of phone, or basically selling classified ads, right? You'd go to classified, you put an ad in the classifieds, and then you'd answer the phone. And so basically what these guys are doing is handing you a phone and saying, I own the phone, and I'm going to give you a phone so that when it rings you can answer it. And then the other thing that they're doing is they're saying, well, you can go do a classified ad, and we'll pay for the classified ads, and we'll manage the classified ads for you. The problem with it is that they're not too discriminate about how they choose the classified ads. They do what, as long as it's enough to keep you happy with their service and you get enough leads to do it, then they're okay with it. So what you really want, and Diane doesn't have the opportunity in this case, using her as an example, and again, I'm using a competitor as an example here, she doesn't have a choice how many leads she gets out of that. She doesn't really control that. All she does is write them a big check every month, and they take care of it. And there are several companies that do that. What we're going to talk about today is a little bit different way of looking at it. It's a way where you can take a little bit of time and manage your own thing, because if you think about your TREG websites that you have, whether it's no matter what kind of website it has, you have the lead management capabilities built right into it. You have the ability already to manage the leads just like they do on the back end of their website. And their salespeople try and tell you, oh yeah, it's really cool, it's good. But I've seen all of them, and I'll tell you that, yeah, there may be a bell or whistle that they have, but there's bells and whistles that we have. And when you have the ability to go in and do it on the back end of your site and manage the leads, you can simply manage a pay-per-click program much more efficiently and effectively than they can, and you can target it precisely to the people the kind of leads that you want. And so that's what we're going to talk about for the next couple of weeks. It's a different way of looking at it. Rather, working with a third-party lead generator like this, and I'm not bad-mouthing it. If you want to do it, that's fine. But you really give up an awful lot of control, and it really isn't that hard to set one of these up. So let's go back to our PowerPoint here for a sec, and talk about we've talked about how they track leads, we've talked about how they charge agents, and now let's talk a little bit about how pay-per-click starts to work. Pay-per-click basically is where you're paying for each click that you get on the website. So for example, well, before we even get started, I want you to do something, and I very rarely have you write something down, but I wanted to first, before we even get started, see this address here where it says https://services.google.com and all that. If you would, write that down or copy that down and go there, and they'll ask you for your email and your business name and your website, and they will send you $75 worth of free Google ads. So hopefully that is something that helps you out. And as you start, you're going to want a little bit of that if you're going to set up a pay-per-click ad. Now, fair warning, if you've already done pay-per-click with the same email address, they probably won't send it to you because they're trying to get new customers. But if you haven't, this is basically for people that are first-timers at this. And so there's $75 worth of free ads there. And I don't know, the other caveat that I'm going to throw out that is that this worked as of yesterday. I didn't try it yet this morning. So if you go there, and there's a little thing on the, in fact, I'll show you what it looks like. Let me see if I can pull it up here really fast. And maybe it's not, I don't have it here, hang on. Let me pull it up. There it is right there. Okay, so this is the same thing where it says the AdWords coupon. So all you have to do is go to that, and you request a free trial, and it has $75 worth of free advertising. Once you put your name, your business email, your website address, and it's important that this business email is unique. They usually send it to you in about 2 hours. A lot of times it's faster than that. And they give you $75 to start with, just to start. So that's usually a good way to get started. Okay. And by the way, if you get to a point where you go, gosh, Eric, this is too much, I don't want to control all this, you can always call them using this phone number, the 877-763-9805. They will help you set up your campaign for free. They're in the advertising business and they want to do that. So that's one way to do it. The problem with that is that they really don't understand real estate. You know, they're in the general advertising business, so it'd be like calling the lady that does the classified ads down at the local newspaper, right? I mean, she's in the business of just getting the ads in the paper, and she's not. They've gotten better about it over the years, but by and large, they're not experts at finding the best deals for you. All they're trying to do is get your ad in the paper, and that's so it's usually better to customize it yourself. So if you put this in there, that's a quick way to get a free ad. Whoops. Let me go back here. Okay. So what I want to go back here for a second. How pay-per-click works. Basically, you put a budget in per day. So, and it's done per day. That's the thing that you need to keep in mind. So if your budget is $100 a month that you're willing to advertise, you can say, well, gosh, I want to do $3 a day times 30 days. And so you just need to remember that when they ask you that, they're asking it for it in dollars per day, not dollars per month. I've had some people that popped in $100 thinking they were doing $100 a month, and that's $3,000, and they weren't too pleasantly surprised at the end of that. So the second thing that you're going to need to do is understand a little better how pay-per-click works. And what we'll do is we're going to set up a pay-per-click account, and as we do, I want to talk a little bit about AdWords and analytics. Google Analytics and Google AdWords kind of work hand in hand, and then we're going to set up a basic AdWords account today, and then what we'll do is we're going to incorporate analytics into it next time. Because if you just set the AdWords account up, that'll give you a start. But you really need to measure what you're getting. And, you know, imagine if you could, with the classified ads, measure who was looking at it, when they were looking at it, how much each person that looked at your classified ads cost you in terms of the overall cost, and be able to target specific people. That's exactly what you can do when you combine Google AdWords and Google Analytics. And so we'll go into analytics next time, and we'll also really start to target the AdWords in our next webinar. But for right now, we're just going to start in and set up a basic pay-per-click account. And I want to start by giving you some resources for that. Let me pull up. Okay, the first thing that you want to do is you want to set up a Google account. If you don't have a Google account, if you go to Google, if you just go Google the term Google accounts, you will need to set up a Google account, and you'll need that for your analytics and for your others. So the first thing you do is set up a Google account, put in your email address, choose a password, and it always asks you, do you want to stay signed in, and that's always good to check. The web history, don't worry about that too much. What it does is it keeps track of where you are so that they can improve your search experience. And then it asks you to put in a little code, to put in the 2 pieces of text, and it tells you the terms of service. And then you hit I accept, and it creates your account. And once you've done that, it sends you an email. And so then once you get the email, you just tell them that you're there, it's you, and then you're good to go. This Google account is something you carry with you, and many of you probably already have it for Google Places or what have you. Okay, so now what we're going to talk about is, now that you've created your Google account, how do you create a place on in getting started on your on AdWords. And what you do is you go to Google AdWords, and there's a page here that I want to show you. And if you go to Google AdWords, if you Google AdWords and type in these words, get started in 3 basic steps, this page will pop up. This is what'll come up in Google, and that's what you want to do, is get started in 3 basic steps. What it takes, what we're going to go through is actually do that. We're going to create an account. We're going to create your first ad, and then it says activate your account and enter an AdWords coupon if you have one. So remember, I told you to create the coupon, get the coupon already, so you'll have that via your email, and you'll be able to activate the account, get the $75 coupon, and actually go in and do this. Okay? It'll keep reminding you as you go through this. The first thing you're going to do is click this little link here that says adwords.google.com and click Start Now. You enter it says enter an email address. You want to use that same one that you were using before, and that's important. You want to enter the same one that you were using before, and then what you can do is once you do that, we will, then they're going to walk you through the process, right? As long as you make sure it's the same, and you'll use the same one for your analytics, you'll be able to interlink those, and so one can monitor the other. Okay? So now, once you do that, then you create your first ad campaign. Well, I've already gone in and set up a Google account. It walks you through the steps. It's real easy. It's the same thing as getting your Google account set up. So what I'm doing now is I'm gonna go through and set up a campaign, which is your next piece, and I'm gonna pull that over now so you can see it. And you'll notice I'm using these on different browsers, so I can kind of monitor them all and change them all and move them around so that you can see them. Okay. Now I'm in my Google AdWords account now that I just created, and it asks you to create a campaign. And what I did was to create a campaign. If I go back to campaign, you'll see that it has this little message that says your account isn't active because you haven't entered your billing information. You have to enter a credit card or whatever to do that. Okay? If I click on all ad line campaigns, it says cancel new ad group. I'm going to hit OK. Okay? Now, you can add a new campaign just by clicking on New Campaign. The difference between a campaign and an ad group is this. All the ad groups pull from the same budget. Okay? So if I budget in $30 a day or $900 a month, and then I want all of it to pull from there, then what I will do is I'll make that all one campaign, and I'll put ad groups in underneath that. Okay, so I created a campaign this morning, and the way that you create it is just click New Campaign, and you go through and you just walk through this. It's real simple. You change the campaign. So let's say I was doing one for Marge Worley, right? I would do that. Now I'm going to do one for Nathan in my account right now because I want to show you a page on his website and show you kind of how this works. So, and what you do is you put that in, you choose what, for us it would be United States, so it only shows, if you choose United States and Canada, it will show your ads in Canada. If you want that, then you click that. If you don't, and some people ask, well, gosh, which should I choose? And it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's up to you. If you're, I would say if you're doing more military work, it's probably just in the United States. And if you're doing more of the tourists coming to Virginia Beach or what have you, you may well want to do it the other way. You know, it doesn't really matter. You can choose what you want to do. Don't get too worried by the number of options here. What I'm going to do, the one recommendation that I would have for you is where it says networks and devices. Under networks, it says all available sites, and I'm going to click that little thing that says let me choose. And here's what I'm going to say. You see where it says Google Search and Search Partners? These guys are all, search partners are kind of like AOL and those folks. If you have the display network, this goes out on a whole bunch of sites, and Google wants you to do that because it sends all this other traffic to you. What I've found is that this really is not that good for you. It doesn't generate the same amount of leads. So you uncheck that one, and it says your ads won't show on Google's display network. That's fine. Okay? And you leave it on all available devices. And for those of you who have iPads or something like that, and you wonder, you know, what all available devices is, if you click here, it shows you that you can do it on tablets with full browsers. And what they mean by that is you know, this is for mobile phones, this is for tablets like the iPad. And I like to have, you know, it available on all of those because people are searching on their iPad all the time. All right, so the next thing, it gives you basic options and advanced options for bidding. And bidding is important because this is how you tell Google how much you're willing to pay for each ad. So for example, if we go to Google here and we look at Virginia Beach foreclosures, how do you know who's going to be on top? Well, the person who bids the most is going to be on the top. For example, and I'm going to oversimplify it, but the person who bids the most right now is Bank of America. All right? Then there's this to own a home person, right? And then there's findhamptonroadsrealestate.com. And then there's these guys. So it basically goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and on down. When you're managing the campaign, you can either manually set the bids, which I recommend, or you can say, let AdWords automatically bid for me. And basically, they're going to maximize the clicks within your budget. That's also an option that you can use. You can put the default bid being maybe $1 per click. So let's just do that. And we're going to talk about cost per click in a second and how you target that. It's important that you want to get, if you think about it, if somebody is out here, and this is one of the things that some of these people don't understand. They go out and they say, well, gosh, I want to look for Virginia Beach real estate, right? Well, the cost per click for this one, because it's a highly competitive term, may be $3 per click, and they're paying $3 every time I click on them. Whereas if you do Virginia Beach foreclosures, and I'm going to use this as an example because Nathan has a page on his website that's already set up with that in mind, right? And we talked earlier about creating pages, and Garrett's got a class on how to create pages. Well, Nathan's got a page for Virginia Beach foreclosures, and I'm going to show you ways that you can, why you want to manually control this is because you can really target the exact people that you want. So with Virginia Beach foreclosures, that cost per click is a lot lower, and probably your next question is going to be, well, how do I know what it costs? When you actually set up the ads, it gives you a predicted cost per click. And so what you have to do is go through the tools and set it up. I'm going to go back to campaign management here. But in order to do that, you need to manually set my bids, and you put in your budget. So I'm going to say that I'm going to budget $3 per day for a total of $90 per month. And then we're just going to go here and, oh, here's some other things that you want to know that most people don't do. Most people that you see out there, they don't use these. You can, if you had a business, like a small business, you could put your location, your address in there. I don't necessarily recommend that for realtors, but I do recommend you extend the ads with a phone number, because they will allow that to go in there, and you can put your phone number in there. It'll ask you for your phone number, and you can also go in and put what they call site links. So for example, if you put a site link in, you can add in other pages on your site that may be of interest to the person. So maybe if you're targeting Virginia Beach, you could target Virginia Beach foreclosures, Virginia Beach luxury homes, whatever. So there's somebody that came to the site that was a generic person, like someone who was looking for Virginia Beach real estate in general, could decide which of your pages they wanted to go to. So it allows you to set those up. You don't need to worry about that right up front. Just it's there and it's available to you, and know that it is, and we'll walk through how to target that, and we're going to use that extensively the next time to really target some of these things and make your pay-per-click listings appear to be a lot cleaner than everybody else's. By the way, I will get to questions. I'm going to get to them towards the end, because this is a lot of stuff that we're going to be going through. So if you've asked me a question, please hang on. I will get to it, and I'll try and answer it. Okay, so then what you do is there's all these other different options. I really wouldn't worry about it for right now. Okay, I really wouldn't worry about it. What I would just do is hit save and continue, and that's what I did with Nathan's when I set up Nathan's. And it says, please correct the errors below. Fine. There's a value that's missing up here somewhere. What do I need to put in here? Let me choose. That's fine. What am I missing? I'm missing something. Do I have to choose campaign type? Oh, I have to choose campaign type. Search network only. Okay, I'm not sure what I didn't do. There's always something in here. Oh, you got to put in, and then we put in here Marge, right? And you go down and you hit set up the campaign. Anyway, I'm not going to waste time with that because I've already set one up. The campaign that I've already set up is Nathan, and I'm going to cancel this. So I'm going to cancel this new campaign anyway. I don't want to have a whole bunch of campaigns in here. What I'm going to do is go into Nathan's campaign, and I set him up with $30 a day, which doesn't. You can edit that, by the way. That's another question that people have. They say, well, gosh, what if I change my mind? I start out wanting to do $200 a month, and I get halfway through the month, and I decide I only want to do $100 a month. You can change this. You can just edit it, and you can go down and change the budget to whatever you want it to be. So we're going to change that back to $3 a day. Okay, and we hit save. Done. Okay, so then what we do is we go to add groups. That's the settings for the campaign. Then we go to add groups, and we're going to create a new ad group. Okay, this little add button here is what we want to add. And what an ad group is the type of ads that you're going to add. That's kind of funny, ads that you're going to add, but ads that you're going to put on the classified ads on Google, basically. So instead of ad group number 1, we're going to call this one foreclosure. Okay, because let's just say that Nathan was targeting foreclosures. Now I'm pretending a little bit, and I'm not setting this up for him because this is on my account. I'm just setting this up as a dummy account. But the first thing you want to do is you want to create a text ad. And so the headline is, well, before I go there, let me show you the page on his website that we want to, let me see where it is. This is the page on his website that he created. And this is something like that he would do in that group with Garrett, in the group with Garrett where you do the building the pages. So he puts a picture up here that has foreclosure that says, if you're facing foreclosure and would like to have a free no obligation consultation about the options, please call us, and he's got his phone number. And it talks about what is foreclosure. And then he also has in here something interesting, which I really like. He's addressing both sides of this. He's got, if you're facing foreclosure, this is one way of doing, that's for the person who's facing foreclosure and is trying to sell. This is for foreclosure listings for investors. And you could actually do 2 separate pages if you wanted to, one specifically targeting the folks that are going through foreclosure and the other one targeting the people who are investors. But either way, so this has foreclosure listings and it's designed for just those people. Well, I went out, now that I put that up there, I did go out already and look to see if he was advertising online for foreclosures, and he was not, which is good, because I didn't want to do something that was going to create competition for him. So I just found that he wasn't doing it, so I thought I'd use it as an example. But if you notice, this is the page that he wants to go to. So what we do is we click on this, and you see where it turns blue there. You just right-click and we'll copy it. And now we're going to go back to the foreclosure campaign. Okay, the headline is, if what we want is we want to have a headline that catches somebody's attention, right? Just like you would on a newspaper ad, facing foreclosure. And basically, I'm going to use the same text that he uses on the page here. Now, there's two options here. One is the display URL, which is going to be http://Nathan Voles. Oops, if I spell it right, nathanvoles.com. The second one is going to be, I'm going to paste what I already had in there, and that's the foreclosures thing. Because if you put that foreclosures thing, that's big and ugly up there, and there's no really need to do that. So if they click on this facing foreclosure ad, they're going to go to this one, even though if the display URL is here. And you can put something in here like, we can help you with options. All right, I'm not going to compose the ad, but yes, normally I take some time and really work on these. But let's just put contact us or visit our site for information. And one of the natural questions that people have about this is, well, how much can I how much can I write here? And the answer is they've got a limit. See, I just tried to type in "we care, visit our site for more information," and it just stops me right there. So basically, it's kind of like the classified ads when you used to do 4BR, 3BA, right? It's the same thing. You're just doing this on here, and you can see that what it's going to actually look like. And this is of course an ad that's targeted specifically, and the reason why I target it specifically to a seller that's facing foreclosure is that by doing that, the investor types won't click on it, because there's a lot of investor types, and the return on his investment is he pays per person that clicks on it, not by paying for each ad that's out there. So if nobody clicks on it, it's totally okay with me, as long as the one person that clicks on it, for that $1, is somebody that's really going to be somebody that's going to be impacted by it, and that may become a client. That's really what you want, to up your batting average that way. So the other piece of this that's important when you think about the return on your investment is it's better to set up a lot of these little ad groups to pull from your budget, because you can target all these people and they can work and work and work, and these ads can be out there like little hooks in the water pulling people in, and you can actually get a lot of these smaller ads to get a lot better return. These, the Virginia Beach foreclosures may not be near as expensive a term as Virginia Beach real estate or Virginia Beach homes. One of the things that I love to tell people is when, with some of my clients that I work with on the SEO side of things, the interesting thing about them is that a lot of times they rank on Google for terms like, city real estate and city homes and basically anything they want in the city. And yet only about 5% of their traffic comes from the term city real estate. The rest of it comes from all these other little terms. which tells us that a lot of people are searching out on Google. They're searching for things like how to avoid foreclosure in Virginia Beach, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So once we create this facing foreclosure ad, and we're going to target it specifically at people, then the next thing we have to do is select the keywords. And this is pretty easily done. There's all sorts of things that it has in here by default, but I'm just going to do some different things here. So I'm going to type in how to avoid foreclosure, and I'm just going to put Virginia Beach. Okay, that's a pretty specific ad. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I really don't want anybody that's just putting Virginia Beach foreclosures or Virginia Beach investment properties or anything like that. I want somebody that is Googling, how do I avoid foreclosure? That's pretty targeted to the same type of ad that I want. So the chances are I'll get a lot less, I call it collateral damage, you can call it riffraff, you can call it whatever you want, but it's a lot less of my dollars going out and not coming back to me with people just clicking on my site for no good reason. I have a friend who was in the real estate business at the time. She's an engineer. Her name is Kelly Kohler, and Kelly used to, because she was an engineer by trade, she used to target. She's moved to California now, but when she was in Arizona, she used to target the keywords so specifically. I mean, she would be like graduate student programs at Arizona State University, graduate student housing. And then she would have a page on her website that had 3 questions about that. And her point was that if somebody was going to come in and actually do that, they were really going to have to drill down right onto what was wanted, and that's the whole point. Is they weren't going to be somebody that was going to waste a lot of her money. And I think that's valuable, especially as you do this. It takes a little longer to set them up, but once you set them up, you can just turn them on and let them run. And you can control the whole thing with your budget. You can turn your budget up or down at that point to bring in leads when you want them and take leads off when you don't. I think one of the things that we look at sometimes as realtors, we go, well, gosh, doing pay-per-click, that just costs a lot of money. Well, not if you do it right. If you target a niche, and one of the things that I want you to do, since there's a pretty good number of you here, is think about the number of the real niches where you could make an impact, and think about someplace where you could actually put this into play. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually go in and track one of these next time so that you can see it. That's really all you have to do. And with this ad group, and by the way, when it says how to avoid foreclosure in Virginia Beach, then you hit estimated search traffic. Okay? It tells you not enough data to give estimates. I love those, because what you're doing is you're setting these little teeny tiny places out there on the web where if you went to, let's go back and let's just do it a little differently. Instead of doing it that way, let's do Virginia Beach homes. Okay, and let's re-estimate the search traffic. And it's going to pop it up here. Oops, it's giving me a little error. I'm not going to worry about it. It's going out and actually searching for it. Hopefully it'll give us the right number here in a sec. Maybe we need to click it again. Okay, we'll refresh the page, that's okay. Oh crud, it kicked us out and made us redo it. So what we're going to do is we're going to retype this in real fast. We're going to do Virginia Beach, and this time we'll do Virginia Beach real estate. What I wanted to show you was that it actually costs a lot more per click. And oops, let's do Virginia Beach homes, because that won't even work. All right, find. Right, and this is what most people do. They go free MLS listings, or whatever they use. I'm just putting something in there. Okay, and we'll just use Nathan. Okay, so I'm typing Nathan back in here, but we're not going. This time we're not going to do it with the. We're not going to do it with the foreclosure. we're just going to do it the other way. Okay, and we're going to do Virginia Beach homes. And we're going to estimate the search traffic. Oh, great. Google's having its own little issues today. That's nice. What you will find is that it'll cost, Virginia Beach homes will cost between $2 and $3 per click. And I want to take you through a little bit of math while we're talking about this. Think about it this way, and here's the math that I like to take people through. If you were paying a referral fee, which is what you would pay for a lead generator like a HomeGain or in some cases Zillow, or even any of these third-party lead generators. Think about it this way. If you were paying for a referral fee, so let's say a referral fee is 25%, we're just assuming that, sometimes it's higher, especially if it's a relocation company, but that's something that's a sure deal, right? You don't pay it until it closes. And so for any time that you want to, so let's say the average home price in your area is $200,000, so we'll just use a nice even number since it's early in the morning. If you have, if you've got 200,000, and so let's say that your commission's typically 3%, you typically have one side of the deal, that's $6,000 in commission that you would generate from a buyer side deal. Okay, well, if you take that and 25% of that $6,000 is $1,500, well, that's a lot of money, but that's for a sure deal, right? And if I asked you, well, would you take that, you'd say sure. However, the other piece of the puzzle is that this requires risk since this is done up front. So you cut that in half and then cut it in half again. That's typically how I like to do it. So you take the $1,500 for the referral fee and you cut it in half, so it's $750, and you cut it in half again. So you have $375 that you're willing to say, all right, I know I'm betting on the come here, but I'm willing to do it because I know I've got a good website. I know that when a lead comes in, I can actually do something with it. So that's my advertising budget is $375. And what I'm hoping for is that I'll actually generate more traffic and more leads. So if you put Virginia Beach homes as your primary keyword that you're choosing, what happens? Let's say it's $3 a click. Well, that gives you a grand total of 120 people that as soon as 120 people click on it, your ads are done you're done with your ad buy for the month. And that's what a mistake that a lot of people make. The other way to do it is to set a lot of these little ones like I was talking about with Virginia Beach foreclosures, which I was using as an example with Nathan's site. And what happens with that is it's a lot less money. It's basically 25%, 25 cents, 30 cents per click. Well, for that same amount of $375, you get 1,000 people clicking your site. It's a lot better for you. So they'll suggest a lot of things to you here for all these different ones, the big real estate terms. What I suggest is that you target a niche and target a niche that you want to be able to work on and go at it from there. Now you want to put your maximum cost per click. What you want to do is put a default bid in there. Let's just say your default is $1. Okay, and then what you can do, you have two options here at the bottom. You can either save and continue to billing, which is what you want to do. If you do that, once you've done this, it'll put the ads out there online. You can have these ads running in literally minutes. If you continue to billing, it's just going to ask you for a credit card. And just be aware that what they do is they typically pull the equivalent of what you would spend in a month, your monthly budget. They pull that up front, and then they will credit it back to you. If you decide to stop and cancel your account, they will credit it back to you. But they pull it in groups like that. So if you see weird billing, that's what they do and why. Okay? You can also have the option of set up billing later, which is what I'm going to do. So once we set this up, you'll see that Virginia Beach foreclosures is set up and active. I want to show you a couple of these little things on here just so that you know what they are, because we're getting towards the end of our time, and we'll come back to this next time and we'll really go through what these mean. But I just want to get you familiar with them. It's going to track the number of clicks that you get, it's going to track the number of impressions that you get. And the difference between the two is the number of impressions is the number of times that somebody searched Virginia Beach foreclosures but didn't click on your little ad. Okay? So if you see a whole bunch of impressions and only a few clicks, that may be a good thing. That may be what you're targeting. You may be trying to make that happen. And that's important. If you have, basically they look at your click-through rate, because the higher the click-through rate, they think that means that's the more money they can make. You don't necessarily want to drive a high click-through rate, and that's kind of what I was getting at. If what you'd like is for every person that goes there for it to be somebody that really wants to buy it, because that's what increases your return on your investment. You know, a friend of mine went out and did Atlanta real estate, and and I want to say it was $4.25 a click, and he spent $1,000 doing it. And the problem with that is somebody that's looking for Atlanta real estate is looking so generically that they almost never stay with him. So then he changed his entire budget around, and he started targeting things like niches like this, and he started targeting things like subdivision pages. For those of you who've created some of those subdivision pages we were talking about, where they were in there, pick 3 or 4 of those subdivisions and target them. The people that are in there are the people that really are interested in that neighborhood. And so that's important to do. The tighter you target this, the better your return on investment. It does take a little bit more time, and that's a piece of the puzzle here. It will take you a little more time to do. So I don't want to delude you about that. I want you to know that it's going to take you more time to set up these little things, but as you do it, you can turn it up and down. You know, you can turn the ability to put your ad online. It's kind of like doing a classified ad. It's really no different than that. You're basically doing online classified advertising with Google for people, except in classified advertising at the local paper, it goes out to everybody, right? I mean, the idea is that whether somebody flips open the paper and is looking at you know, the sports or the comics or whatever, they're getting a paper that has that ad in there. With this, it's a lot more targeted, so that that's a lot easier for people to get a hold of them. So I hope that makes sense. What we're doing here is trying to create a number of AdWords. You can add it, and you can add a new keyword in this ad group simply by adding a keyword here. And so let's just do that. You can actually add it by spreadsheet if you really want to do a whole bunch of them. But let's just do one. So let's do Hampton Roads. Hampton Roads foreclosures. All right, and maybe we want to do Chesapeake VA foreclosures. All you have to do is add them under a different line here, and then the key to this is monitoring. So we're going to estimate the search traffic. Let's hope this works. It may. Okay, good. And you see, it doesn't give you an estimate of the number of the average cost per click right now, but it figures that your cost per click is going to be somewhere between 27 and 33 cents a day. Okay? You can also, if you really want to get fancy, one of the ways you can do it is where it says keyword match types. What those are is you can use either what we call a broad match or a narrow match, and we're going to talk about how to use those next time so that you can really tightly target something to where it's exactly that search term, or you can say, I want to do anything that includes Chesapeake and foreclosures. I want to do. So that would include Chesapeake and foreclosures would include you know, Chesapeake foreclosure listings. It would include Chesapeake how to avoid foreclosures in Chesapeake, Virginia. It would include anything that includes that, and I'm going to show you some techniques on how to do that. You can also use what's called negative keywords to be able to say, well, I want to do everything except I want to avoid a couple of things. And so I'm going to show you how to do those as well. And that gives you some idea. You know, I want to do, you know, Virginia Beach homes, but I want to avoid, anything with Virginia Beach Homes in it, but I want to avoid the main page, which is Virginia Beach Homes. You can do it that way. There's a lot of different ways to do this. And I'm going to show you some techniques for doing that so that as you do it, you can actually kind of create the marketing plan that you want. Now let's go back to the high-level overview that we started with, right? I want to go back to these third-party lead generators. Here's the thing to think about over the week and over the next week or two until we get together again. If you are working with a third-party lead generator, you're basically handing it to them and saying, I want to write a big check. Oftentimes it's, close to a couple grand a month. And I'm going to turn it over to you. And what I'm kind of throwing out there to you as an opportunity is this. By putting a little bit of work into it and by realizing that you already have a website that has great lead management on the back end, you can see when people come in, you can change it to where you can register them immediately or you can wait till a little bit later. You can do any of these things, right? So as you do that, you have control over what you want to do. You have the ability to do that. So you can target what you want with these ads to where you can control the cost. You don't have to spend $2 grand a month. You can spend $50 a month or the $75 that I just showed you how to go get. And when you do that, you can actually improve your return on investment. Even if you do nothing, then take a little bit of time and go right here and get this little, I'm going to blow it up so you can see it. Write this down and pick up $75 worth of free ads. Even if you do that and then you don't do anything else, at least you've started and you've tried it and do a little bit of experiment. This is the time of year, especially during December and the start of January, where you can really get things going. And that's going to be you can test stuff, you can try stuff, and you can really start to make things work. So please give this a shot over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to open it up for questions now. If anybody has questions, please pop in with a question, and I'll be more than happy to try and answer them because I want to have time. I know I've covered a lot of stuff. The next time around, what we're going to do is we're going to take this, once you set up an account, and we're going to target it. And it's going to be important for you to really try this out and test it out. You may get to a point where you go, gosh, I'm confused. What I would beg you to do over the next couple of weeks is don't panic. Okay? Many of you have emailed me in the past. With this one thing, what I'd like you to do is if you get to a point where you're like, I can't do this, or I'm frustrated with it, or I don't know what's next and I'm worried about it, just shoot me an email, and I will try to help you with it. Okay, somebody just asked a question. Hang on. Somebody asked, is this session being put on the Treg Training website? Absolutely it is. We're going to be putting this up there for the exact reason we were talking about at the beginning of the session, is that there's so much stuff on here. You need to be able to go through it a couple of times, and as you're doing it, you need to kind of be able to follow. The next one is going to be up there as well. I had some problems after the one in Vegas, and things have gone pretty error-free today, thank goodness. I'm really glad of that. Feels good to be back in the home office. And so what we're going to do is as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to be spending time putting it up on Treg Training as fast as I possibly can so that you can go back through it. This whole thing is designed to help you become competitive. Don't be afraid of pay-per-click any more than you would be afraid of doing classified advertising. That's really what it is. It's just classified advertising on the web. And I know that most of you, because if you've been in the business a while at all, you've done the classified advertising, and you're like, you hate doing it because you hate spending the money, but there's really not anything scary or untoward about it. It's just learning the rules of the game, and that's what this is as well. If you learn the rules of the game, you can really play the game well. And next time when we get together, that's why I want to start with something that was really basic. Next time we're going to put analytics into this, and we're going to kick it up another notch and really start to work towards how to make it become even more of a tool. If you really want to control it and manage it so that you get the most out of it. But you don't necessarily have to do that. You can kind of do this set it and forget it style, which is not a bad way to go as well. So do we have any other questions? I'm monitoring the questions right now to see if anybody else has any. I know there are a number of you on here, and you guys have been great about just being patient with me while we go through all this stuff. Next time we're going to go through, when we go through, I'm sure you'll have a lot more questions. And I do want to make it an interactive thing, so next time it's going to be more of a give and take, because we're going to actually try some scenarios out where we can try. Maybe we're going after foreclosures. Maybe somebody's going to go after a subdivision site or a subdivision page on their website. And somebody asked about the next webinar. The next webinar is 2 weeks from today. We have them on Thursday mornings at 9:30. 2 weeks from today. I have another webinar on the off weeks that I do, but for the webinars that I do with you guys is every other Thursday. So it'll be, today's the 1st, so I'm imagining it will be the 14th or 15th or whatever that is. It's a week, 2 weeks from today, at the same time. I appreciate the question. If you don't have any more questions. And all of these, you know, we put the past webinars up on Treg Training, but I've had trouble in doing it in the past and technical issues and all that fun stuff. But today I'm gonna put it up right away so that we get it up and so that you can use this and actually implement it. As you look at doing stuff that is through the winter time for me is a time to, and I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I did. My Thanksgiving is a time to set goals for the new year, and as I do, what I do is if the goal survives until January, then I go ahead and implement it. And so my way of doing that is for the month of November and December for me is putting new stuff up, trying it, and testing it. And between the online welcome kits that we're getting ready to roll out and these are some things that you can test out, try out, start using to market. These are some marketing tools you can start to roll out and get a head start on the coming years. So anyway, I hope if nobody else has any questions, I really enjoyed it today, and I really appreciate some of the kind comments people are sending back in. And if there's anything that you guys need in the meantime, feel free to shoot me an email as always, and I will try and get you, at least send you the link to the right resource. And the webinar should be up later today. Thanks, and hope you have a great day.